I don't know. Hello, everybody. The Zoomers, we're not quite ready yet here. So if you want to go and make yourself a cup of tea, you're very welcome. It looks as if some people might be looking for parking maybe or something, or for the place. I don't know. Do you have any idea? Did somebody tell you that they want to come or not, or what?
I know there's, in the list, there's like 45 people. But many registered like a month or 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So
Anyway, we'll wait a little bit more. Yeah, Tel Aviv traffic and parking and everything, so yeah. Adriana, your mic is closed. So if anybody wants to say something on the
Hi.
Zoom.
I just want to say hi and to apologize. I didn't come by person because it became very late for me. I was with my grandchildren.
Okay, so Shuki is saying the book about this topic is the wisdom of forgiveness with His Holiness Dalai Lama. Well, I don't know, I'm not referring to a specific text. I don't know. But tomorrow, just in case, Ronnie and me are going to the Cinematheque because there's the movie of His Holiness, which is called The Wisdom of Happiness. It's a new documentary. And when I was in Switzerland, it was presented at the film festival in Zurich by Richard Gere. And the younger people, you still know who that is? No, not so much. Richard Gere? Yeah, okay.
I know he's a Buddhist.
Yeah, okay. They know him because he's a Buddhist, okay. Not because he was the lady, what was it? The Lady in Red or something. Yeah, and many other movies. Yeah, so he made many movies. And I can tell you when he turned up in Dharamsala, just like this, and then he connected really well with Fabrizio. Some of you might know him. He's the translator in Lama Tsongkhapa Institute for many years for the master program. And he translates His Holiness into Italian, like directly. And so they became very good friends. So one of the teachers of Fabrizio was Rinpo Rinpoche, so he thought he will take him to Rinpoche. So he tried to explain to Rinpoche that this is a famous actor and so many women like him, and he already had gray hair. So Rinpoche was looking at him and he said, this one? He's all gray, what is this? And Richard Gere totally kind of fell in love with him, not in a bad way, but he was totally fascinated by him. So he said, Rinpoche, it would be so nice if you could come and live in the United States. I will build a house for you. And so Rinpoche said, oh, okay. Do you have that much money? Rinpoche was like this, right? He was straight out, very direct. Hello. Yeah, just sit down, then she will relax. Okay. The moment you sit, she knows you belong. It's a she or a he? It's a she. And okay. So then, so Rinpoche said, oh, do you have that kind of money? How much would it cost? So Richard Gere said, oh, no, 1 million, 2 million. And Rinpoche said, wow, are you that rich? So he said, yes. And then he said, well, I live here. And he used to live, I don't know if you know Dharamsala, the temple. And but you probably never went there. Before going up the stairs, when you then come to the Kalachakra temple, if you go straight in, there are some rooms there which are big, but damp and dark and horrible. And Rinpoche used to live there. It was very simple. It was a huge room, maybe bigger than this, with a small place to, a gas cooker, like this. And his niece was living with him and his attendant. And so they were all three in that same room with kitchen and everything. So Rinpoche said, so you see, I have this room here, so that's quite okay. I don't need more than that. But if you have that kind of money, there are many monks in South India who they have no health insurance, they have no money to, when they're sick and all that. So if you want, you could invest in that. So he did. And out of that came the Gear Foundation, which also, if now you go to Dharamsala, before you go in the temple, when you come from Maklaganj, and there is a huge toilet block there, before you go in the temple, and it also says Richard Gere or Gear Foundation. So that was also thanks to him, because I don't know whether you have been to Dharamsala, like 30, 40 years ago, when there was teachings of His Holiness, to go to the toilet was a real challenge because there were almost no toilets. So anyway, so that's tomorrow in the Cinematheque. Okay, so welcome for the guys on the Zoom. So the topic of this evening, well, Michal, so again, the group is small enough, so we can have this as a discussion, which I prefer anyway, because I need to know what you think. And I like to know what you think. And for the people on the Zoom, if you just want to say something, you open your mic and you say something, and then we address that question or we look at it. There's nobody there yet, but she knows. Anyway, so Michal was asking me if I could give a talk in Tel Aviv or Tirza or Irit. I can't remember who exactly asked. And so I said yes, and I had more in mind to do purification, something. Can we close this? Because, I don't hear so well, and I find it really disturbing. I'm sorry. If people start to faint, then we will open it again. I guess I'm not used to it. All the other places where I was were totally quiet. So sorry about being so demanding. Somebody sent a chat to you. What is that? What time is Cinematheque? It's 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock, and you can get the tickets on the internet, and then maybe we will meet, so it will be nice. So anyway, I would think... I was thinking maybe doing something about purification, but Michal didn't pick up that idea at all. No, I think I wrote to you. Yeah, because you said, what would you like to talk about? So I said, maybe purification might be a good thing. Yeah, to you, personally. And then you said, no, Bodhicitta is always good. So, okay. So then, I'm supposed to do what people ask me to do, so then that's fine. So, so we're going to talk about Bodhicitta. But the thing about Bodhicitta is that some of you might be familiar with the Bodhicharyavatara, and you know that the first chapter is all about the benefits of Bodhicitta, so that you really then understand. If you know the benefits, then you're also able to bear the hardships of developing it and keeping it, or then actually acting upon it. So that's why there's first chapter is on the benefit. Second chapter is about purification, mainly confession and purification, basically the 7 limbs, in order to even the ground, because Shantideva says our mind is you know, like a field who has heaps and then holes and again heaps and again holes and like that. So it's very difficult if you put seeds into that, onto that field for the crop to be really good. So the 7 limbs are there to purify and to create the merit that we need. So it's a really good preparation to understand this is really serious. This is really not easy to do, and especially what is happening now. So this is why, you know, the title came up. It's hot. So the title came up, does it still make sense in times like this to kind of work on bodhicitta? Because also, when we talk about bodhicitta, I hear quite a lot of people say, oh, you know, especially what happened during the war or on the 7th of October, people giving their lives to protect others. And some people say, well, you know, he or she really acted like a bodhisattva or like a Buddhist. And then one thing is I really get a bit offended, because one thing is they're not Buddhist, so it sounds like only Buddhists can have compassion and courage to protect other people. So I really scolded somebody the other day because he said, oh, actually she's a Christian, but she's behaving like a Buddhist. So I said, like, what are you saying? I mean, sorry, this is really not respectful towards Christianity. And it really shows that when people say they're Bodhisattva, they don't really know what bodhicitta is. Because it's not just about compassion. Yeah, so now it's your turn. So bodhicitta is made out of 2 kind of goals, which are what? It's like a quiz. You guys also on the Zoom, you can participate in the quiz. What are the 2 goals of bodhicitta? Why, you know, what does it mean, bodhicitta?
It's the wish to achieve enlightenment for the sake of everybody else.
Yeah, okay, for the sake of everybody else. But I think it's really good if yeah, that's right. That's what it says in the, you know, in the official definition. But it's really good, not just for the sake, but also to have the capacity and the skills to lead whoever wants to be led to full awakening, and all of them, not just some of them, those who want anyway. So that is not an easy task. So for that, definitely we have to be quite determined to do that. So what do you think? Does, you know, developing bodhicitta or working on bodhicitta, does it still make sense when times are so difficult?
What I ask myself is,
I will then say it for the Zoom.
What is the goal of the practice? Mm-hmm. What is our goal? Is our goal just to be happy, 100% happy, as Geshe Damdula always says, to be 100% happy and 0% suffering? Is that the goal of the practice? I just want to, you know, to deal with it again, because like go back to the simple thing, to the basic idea. Mm-hmm. Is that it? Is that the purpose of the practice? Is that our purpose?
Okay, so Tommy is asking, is the purpose of the practice, is it just to be 100% suffering, 100% happiness and 0% suffering? Is that the purpose? So now you need to say to me or to whoever when you ask this question, what does it mean for you? Happiness, 100% happiness. What does it mean?
0% suffering.
0% suffering, okay? Can you be a bit more precise going on the happiness part?
To be content, not to suffer from the emotions that usually we suffer from.
Okay, not to be under the control of the emotions. Yes. Okay. Anything else?
To be satisfied with ourselves.
To be satisfied with ourselves. Mm-hmm. Do you think being awakened, then there will be a self that needs to be content?
it's a way to be content, no? Because why do we want to be awakened?
Yeah,
Why
this
do
is
we
what
need
I'm,
to be awakened for the sake of what?
yeah, okay. For the sake of others, you think, and not for us.
If you are awakened, there is no me.
If you are awakened, there is no me. Okay, okay, maybe,
There is,
yeah.
I find that when I say, okay, I'm doing it for the benefit of others, wait, so Alan.
It's okay, you don't have to perform, you just say it.
When I'm doing it for the sake of all sentient beings,
Yeah.
okay, it's like a trick, because of course it's like I want to be happy, but when I say I'm doing it for everyone, it is just things happen, it has more power. I feel like I am all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are behind me, because I'm just, helping them to help all sentient beings. So it's a trick that I very often use.
Okay.
And I know it's a trick because I'm not not there yet. But when I think, I know it will work so much better if that's the motivation. If I say, okay, that's why I'm doing it. And yes, and I think like with Tammy, it's not about so much being in contact, but to feel things are meaningful. Things are not happening just, something to give me the power to go on, to continue,
Okay. Well, me personally, I think is like what we really have in common with all other beings, even animals and I don't know, spirits, but hunger, ghosts and hell beings, that we want to be free from suffering and we want to be happy. So yes, that is the goal. But then again, I don't like the word happiness so much. Contentment also sounds, we can use all kinds of things to be content, kind of thing. We say, we even use the Dharma, to kind of calm us down sometimes by saying, everything is impermanent. Anyway, everything is empty, so why should I care? And like this can happen. Or practicing patience because we are too lazy or we can't be bothered to go into a conflict and we just let things happen and say, okay, I practice patience. This can also be. So whether our practice is really genuine or not, we're the only one to see and to judge. I think that's what makes it difficult. But I would say, for me, what really find interesting in this whole thing, to see reality as it is, that is the goal. Instead of living in this fantasy of me and others and inherent existence, autonomous existence, separated from others, real birth, real death, real beginning, real ending, and all those, this I find interesting. And then on top of it, having the skills to really be able to help others. Because you see, me personally, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a nurse, I'm not a doctor. And because I'm very good at blah, blah, and people like me, they come with their personal problems. And I really don't know how to help them. Because if they are Buddhist practitioners, I can give them practices to do, but most of them are not. Most of them, if I say, go and do 100,000 prostrations, they would say, what? No, thank you very much. Why should I do that? They don't, they want to be happy now. For that, I don't have the skills to, when they come with a problem with neighbors, problem with the partner, problem with the children. I try to say something that sounds a little bit like Dharma, but I feel it's always a bit shallow kind of thing, like for now. Yes.
Don't you think that to see reality as it is a mean and it's not the goal? I mean, what is the big deal about seeing reality as it is? It is helping us to reach this situation or this goal of being completely happy.
What's the big deal? Sorry, I'm cutting you. What's the big deal of seeing reality as it is? If somebody has a nightmare and they cannot wake up, what's the big deal of them waking up? Why can't we just let them there?
But why do they want to get up, to be up? Why do they want to arise from the situation of a nightmare? Because they don't want to suffer.
Yeah, because they're suffering for nothing.
I know. But
Their suffering is based on an illusion, same way as my suffering is based on an illusion. I mean, sorry, how stupid is that?
okay, but again, the goal is to be satisfied, to be happy, not to suffer. And if the mean to get to this goal is to see reality as it is, wonderful. If somebody comes with another solution that brings to the same result of being completely happy and not to suffer, fine. And so I'm saying this is a suggestion, a way that the Buddhism suggests to reach to this goal of being 100% happy.
Free from suffering.
Yes.
Which we all want,
I
isn't
know,
it?
but this is it's not a goal for itself. It's only a goal, it's only a mean to get to the goal. That's what I'm trying to say.
I don't really understand. Can somebody maybe explain a little bit more?
Nobody feels the same? Sorry.
No, I can't.
No, don't be sorry. It's
No,
good.
I'm sorry that I
You know?
said all this time just for myself.
No, it's okay.
I
It's
thought that
fine.
I'm kind of talking.
I don't understand the means and the goal. What you kind of. This is what I don't understand.
She's asking why do we want to see that as it is? And they're saying that seeing that as it is.
Because we understand that the suffering comes from not seeing reality as it is. If somebody doesn't want to suffer, they're in a nightmare and they are suffering, wouldn't you want to wake them up out of compassion? Because you understand they're suffering for nothing. Their suffering is created by their own minds. Wouldn't you have that compassion and the skills maybe also to wake them up? Wouldn't you see that as a goal?
First of all, I think about myself. First
Okay.
of all, I have to be happy and not suffer. First of all, I have to be in this complete position.
Out of
Otherwise-
suffering. Yeah.
Otherwise, I cannot help others.
Of course, you have to be awake to wake that person
I know,
up.
but I have to be awake, first of all, because I want not to suffer.
Yeah.
Then when I get to this position of being awake and not to suffer, then I want, of course, I want to get all the people that I know and love to be in the same situation, and then the others also, and then everybody also.
Yeah.
But what is the... Okay, I made my point.
No, I don't understand. This is the thing. I don't understand what exactly you want to say. No, it's not. Never mind. This is
No,
important.
I made my best to make it clear, but...
Maybe Thursday we talk more about this.
Maybe Rami will help.
Right. Okay. Okay. So we agreed that bodhicitta is like there has two things. I mean, it has a few things, right? So bodhicitta is the wish to attain full awakening in order to be able to have the skills and the means to lead others to that state. So full awakening, yeah, we have the potential. This is what the Buddha says. Now the question is, do we believe in it? Do we believe that we can be free from suffering? What did we say? 100%, and that we can, I don't like the word happiness. And we can be well, let's say like this, we can be well and function well, maybe we should say like this, function well without harming anybody, and we will harm others as long as they're not enlightened, whether we want or not, but with absolutely no wish to harm others. And I'm sure many of us, we think we have the wish not to harm others, but or that we think we are not harming others. Of course, we're not harming others, directly by lying to them, stealing from them, killing them, or whatever. But in a more subtle way, I'm talking about myself, okay? Then you look how you feel. Hi, Shaket. Are we really behaving in a way that that we're not harming others by maybe we don't like them so much, or maybe they get on our nerves, or maybe we don't give them the attention that they want, or maybe we are frustrated or stressed about something, and then they come with their problem, which is, in my eyes, totally meaningless and very small, and we don't give them the time and things like that. So of course, it's not, I'm doing this in order to harm them so that they go away, but deep down, is the motivation for behaving like this? Is it kind of pure? Is it not so pure? What is it? We do, isn't it? We're not so, I should say, I'm not so totally compassionate that the equanimity, I'm far away from equanimity, really far away. Then again, I'm talking about myself, right? I'm a nun. I should be a professional Bodhicitta practitioner, like 24 hours a day, almost. I open up my eyes in the morning, may everything be of benefit. Whatever I do now today may be of benefit to others. I do this when I don't feel well. Because as Michal was saying, it's not a trick, by the way. This is reality, it's a fact. If I open up my heart towards others, I forget a little bit. My self-interest becomes much smaller, and then also the problem becomes smaller. So it's not a trick. But I should do this every morning. Do I do it? No. What I like to do lately is because I take public transport quite often, and I go half an hour before, and I buy myself a coffee. I sit on a bench and I look at all the people who pass and wish them well. Start practicing bodhicitta, start practicing equanimity. Yes. I'm not sure, but it feels bloody good, I tell you. It feels really good. And to understand, looking at each one of them, and some of them, they kind of go, what did you want? And to really understand, each one of them has a problem. Each one doesn't, as they say, it's like the sufferings, not having what we want, being stuck with things that we don't want, losing things that we are attached to, desiring things that we will never be able to attain because we're not creating the right causes. Each one of them is going through that based on an illusion, based on a misconception. Isn't that crazy? And we're so intelligent. Humankind can deal with so many problems and figure out, like here in Israel, wow, you're so great with desalinating the water, I don't know, all the other things that you are doing. It's like, but does it lead us anywhere? This is the thing. Does it get us closer to the goal of having no suffering and having well-being, contentment, open heart, open mind, open heart, joy? If this is when I see the masters, how joyful they are, like the Dalai Lama, with all their problems that they have, and they only hear difficult things and all that, not to be so disturbed by it, and having absolutely no self-concern. Wow, isn't that great? But then again, what does it mean, having no self-concern? Does it mean you let everybody walk over you? Because that was written in the description, I think. Does it mean being kind, having compassion, that everybody does with you whatever they want? What do you think? Does it mean that? No? So, you two people, can we have some opinion here from you also? Don't be so shy. Wait. Give him a chance to say something. Elisheva, if you want to say something, you need to open your microphone.
Hi, hi, Anila.
Hi.
I'm happy to see you, and I'll meet you tomorrow in the Cinematheque.
Okay.
I don't have something to say except that I wanted to ask if when you become a bodhisattva
Yeah.
and you are intent to take the suffering from all the human beings, something like this.
Mhm.
So is it because then when you do it, not in egoistic motivation, but it's not a complete satisfaction when you just free yourself from the illusion, because you connected deep inside to all the human being and the creatures, so you can't be really happy, or I don't know what word to say, to feel complete, unless everyone is
Yeah.
stopping suffering.
Yeah, but that's what bodhicitta is all about, isn't it? It says about to lead and guide all other sentient beings out of suffering and the cause of it.
Yes, but I used to think that I didn't understand why, from where do you have the motivation to free all the others? Okay, you did it for yourself, but the motivation, and I think maybe it's because if it's just you, it's very narrow. So if you want to satisfy yourself more, even, you need to free out all the others. So it's a question.
Oh, we have a little accident here.
Oh,
The cat just vomited, and she is afraid of her own vomit. So that's good. So anyway, yeah. Well, there is two ways of developing bodhicitta. Let's first see, like, there's two bodhicittas, right? There is conventional and there is ultimate. And so the conventional one has to do with compassion and practicing the perfections like generosity, ethical conduct, patience, especially. But then there is ultimate bodhicitta, which has to do with like seeing reality as it is. Now, we ourselves, we have two hindrances for that. Or like kind of, they say we have two enemies, which are what?
Self-grasping ignorance and self-centered attitude.
Exactly. So that's the only two enemies that we have. We are like a seemingly existent self appears, and we grasp at it for real, like we really hold it as if it exists from its own side. So that one we can weaken by thinking about emptiness. That, trying to really do these meditations, that we're trying to find it and we can't find it. And the best way is to try to find it when it's quite strong. Like, for example, the cat has vomited and you're barefoot and it's not your cat. If it's your cat, it's fine because there's compassion. You see, justice, cleaning up, it's such a good example. I'm sure your cat is a bodhisattva. No, really, to have a good example, okay? The relationship that we have with other people, our relationship that we have is at the moment, I would say, for most of us, attachment. Like we have some interest in them because we call this cat my cat. The cat vomits, which it just did, by the way, so it's fantastic. We have a very good example. To clean that up, even if you wouldn't have paper, you would be able to do it with your own hands because it's my cat. If it's not my cat, it's the same vomit. It's totally different. So how can we, from only a few beings, very limited, where we can be very strong, And so this shows us also attachment can be quite helpful, by the way. So how can we from this beautiful mind, this very courageous mind that can give up on a lot of, self-cherishing. Your first concern is with the cat. It's not, oh my gosh, I have to clean this up, and so like that. How can we change that from just one or a few beings in our mind, in our circle, in our connections? How should I call this? In our life. How can we expand it to all others? Do we have interest? I mean, do we find this beneficial for us? Because Elisheva was saying for me, also Michal was saying for me, do we see this as something that, wow, this is really great? I mean, this is the question of this evening. In these difficult times, does it make sense to try to expand the mind more and more and more and more, to be able to include in the compassion even people who are very harmful? Does it make sense? It's difficult. Difficult is not a problem. It still makes sense, even if it's difficult.
It makes sense because it makes us feel good.
Makes us feel good.
It's also, it helps us function better.
Okay, helps us function better.
I was talking to Smadar. I remember, this someone who was reading the news in order to practice bodhicitta.
Yeah.
And instead of freaking out, yeah?
Yeah.
And I remember talking to Smadar about something like this and trying myself to think of Bibi, for example, it doesn't matter, everyone, yeah? And instead of like, just thinking, okay, he's a cat and he has vomited or something like this. It's like, it helps you lower your blood pressure.
It helps lower the blood pressure. Is that good enough for the moment? Yeah. It helps lower the blood pressure. I think yes. It really helps us, as Michal says, to function better and not to bring more aggression and more anger and more that out into the world. But we need to decide ourselves what we want to do, because nobody can force you. Being a bodhisattva. Shake, what do you want to say? I'll turn the computer so people can see it.
Hi, everyone on the Zoom.
You have to speak loud.
Yeah. I said hi, everyone on the Zoom. From my understanding, I mean, if it is our true nature to behave like this and to be compassionate and understanding, then by not like behaving like this and giving expression to this. So it's like the cat that maybe like hid himself. I mean, the cat is now hidden under like somewhere there. And I mean, we like the cat. It's a true. I mean, it's a true thing that's like with us. But when it is missing, then we feel that something is missing, like something true, and some of our like happiness and loving aspects of ourselves are missing because they are a part of our nature. So when we are not compassionate, then we do feel the lack. And when we just like remind ourselves or like tap into it or connect with something that's already in our nature, then like a lot of our inner strength and inner like light and beauty can just shine because it's like the truth already.
Yeah, do we agree with this? It's our nature to be compassionate, and not just to a few, but actually to everybody. Problem is that the nature is not really coming through yet. This is the problem, it's not natural. So we need to give the mind good reasons why. So one, so then it's these different ways of developing bodhicitta. So one is to see all the beings as your mothers, having been your mothers or fathers in past lives. For us, pretty difficult. But still, if you believe in rebirth, it really works. Because I remember when my dad died, a few days later, I was at Tushita, I had a fly in my room, and I usually never had flies in that room. And he was turning around my nose and turning and turning and turning and turning. I thought, wow, what if that's the consciousness of my dad that is being reincarnated as a fly and is attached to me? And it's not that I started talking to that fly as if it's my father, but my relationship to that fly changed. So if we can see this as a hypothesis and we think, yeah, well, I mean, mind that has been existing since beginningless time, I think if you hear it long enough, all of a sudden it becomes quite real. Yeah, isn't it? That it makes sense that there is no moment, no first moment of mind, that there's always been a moment before. Otherwise, how can you have mind in a way?
But can I ask,
Yeah.
what about anger? It's someone, I don't remember who said that we want to get rid of the anger, especially in these hard times. But anger can be useful for us.
Yeah.
Especially at these times. If I will not feel angry, then I will not feel the motivation to do something.
Okay. So the question is now, what about now in these times, I will not feel the motivation to do something. So can I ask you, honestly, what are you doing with your anger? No, really, because sometimes we have ideas and then we see, but, me as an individual, what can I do? I mean, if I'm in Tel Aviv, I go to the demonstrations. I'm not angry. I go and I just recite mantras. Maybe it will be of benefit, maybe not. But I also see that what I don't understand in this country, which is so many very intelligent people, since years, so many people go in the street, first very peaceful, then very angry, every Saturday, and nothing changes. Nothing changes. So either the peaceful is not working, and the anger is also not working. So what can we do? So you think if you wouldn't be angry, you wouldn't go demonstrate anymore?
Well, specifically, I thought about much smaller situations than the bigger and the political situation.
So what?
I don't know if I'm offended by someone and he hurt my feelings and I get angry. So after I get angry, I understand, okay, something happened, something is not right, and then hopefully I will communicate it with him and hopefully something will change for the better next time.
Yeah, but you think
Most times
it's getting a bit personal. This would be better. So I hope you're not embarrassed if I go into this.
Okay.
Otherwise, you just say, stop, it's enough. I don't want to open more. So okay, somebody does something to you and it offends you. And then you need your anger to respond. Not really, do you? You can just say, excuse me, that was not really, what you did. This is anger seems always the first thing to do, and it seems to be protecting us also. But actually what it does, you see, like also where human intelligence fails, is that we want to have peace of mind, we want to be content, I think. Yeah, is this what you said, Tommy? Because I kind of understood that this is a stupid goal or something like this. Maybe I totally misunderstood.
No, that was my point.
Yeah, okay, good.
That
Oof.
well-being,
I'm glad that this is...
well-being is our goal. And being angry never made anybody feel good.
Yeah, this is it does. Anger makes you feel very good. At the moment, it makes you feel very good.
It fades so quickly.
Yeah, exactly.
So
It changes very
Have
quickly.
this well-being feeling permanent.
Yeah,
Well-being. So anger
Yeah.
doesn't help me.
that's true. That we can at least intellectually get to there, right? By saying, actually, I'm so stupid, and I can talk to myself like this. I can say to myself, hey, come on, you're such an idiot, you're so stupid. Because intellectually, I know that with anger, with attachment, with desire, I destroy my peace of mind. And then I blame the other person for having destroyed my peace of mind. And every time I see the person, even though they're quite nice, they're even trying to be kind to me. I say, no, get lost, blah, blah. Again, I destroy my peace of mind. I don't even see that the other person has changed. Because with anger, we freeze the person into that situation, and it takes a long, long time for that poor person who recognizes that they have made this mistake, for me to be able to open up my heart again. Poor person, you know, it's like they need a kind of a lot of fire to unfreeze that moment that I have made permanent. Because somehow the anger, it doesn't really want to have contact with that person, and it doesn't want to see that person as good. But as you say, the first thing is I need my anger to defend myself. I can give you that Tibetan thing, which I really like, and I use it in almost every course. Anger is a wish to harm, right? So yeah, so we have to be very clear, and also very often, you know, like in the four immeasurables, in equanimity, they say free from attachment and hatred. So anger is, you know, moments of frustration where it gives us the energy to react or to do something that's kind of okay. But anger is a wish to harm, maybe not consciously, but is that we behave in such a way, and it totally exaggerates. This is the other thing.
Aren't there times, even very rare times, very extreme times, that anger is useful for us? For example, I don't know, October 7th.
Yeah.
Those people who were very angry.
Who?
Even before civilians that
Before October 7th
no,
or after?
October 7th, civilians that heard about the awful things and just took their own guns and went out and tried to save people.
Yeah.
And they were extremely angry, I guess.
We don't know, because did you
know.
talk to them?
I don't know.
You see, anger, it makes you go out of control.
Yeah.
If you are in a dangerous situation, I think it's better not to be angry,
Not to be angry.
than to be angry. We think we need the anger, but it's not like that. I was once in Paris in the airport, and then there was a bomb threat. And then I saw the crew coming in that was there to defuse the bomb. I saw them, I was so impressed by them. They came in totally calm, totally concentrated, absolutely not, what, these stupid terrorists, why do I have to come? Oh. No, but they were you could feel that they were totally confident about what they're doing. I was really impressed by them. If they would have come agitated, angry, why today? Why I was having lunch with my girlfriend? Why do I have to come here now? Or how do they dare? I want to protect my French it's brothers and sisters, blah, blah, blah. No, nothing.
Shooting anyone who looks suspicious with a mask.
Yeah, totally calm. And you could see how calm they were. And I looked at them and I thought, wow. This is a good way to react. So whether these people who protected the others, I'm not sure if you can not, maybe if you're very angry, then you don't care about your own life. But I think if you die by giving your own life, if you do it out of compassion, I think that might be more calm and more skillful even. But I don't know, for me, in my eyes, this is theory. Yes, Tomer.
I think this question is very good when I'm thinking about it. Because there is the problems of anger we talked about, and there is this, in this specific essence, that it causes us to act in times of against bad things. In this specific aspect, it is beneficial. But when I think about this question, I try to think, is it the only way? Like, do we actually need this anger in order to act against injustice? Or do we have other alternatives? And I think if we find other alternatives, then it's a question of which one is better. And I think like both with let's start with an easier example, because I think the 7th of October is a bit harder one. But you said you gave an example of some relationship, friendship, when someone is saying something and then you have anger, and then because of it you bring it up and doing something, communicating and making the effort. So in this aspect, like anger calls you to communicate, and also in Western psychology, let's say that anger is a good thing because it calls us to put boundaries. And I also had those situations where I had 2 situations where I had anger, and then it caused me to put very clear boundaries, and it had good results in a way because I was not so good in putting out boundaries, and then suddenly I put them. So in this way, it was good. But then when I was talking about it, she told me, "Wait, is it actually a good thing? Like, what could have happened?" And when thinking about it more, I thought, okay, actually something good happened, but in the same way, like when I was angry at my father and it turned out good, maybe it would have gone completely horrible, and then it would not be so good. But in the same way, like you said about boundaries, or about someone hurting us, I think, okay, do we have other ways we can act from? Can we act from compassion to ourselves and to others? Maybe if someone is doing something which is hurting me, it's also hurting them, and then I want both myself and others to be free of the suffering, and because of it I need to act and do something. And this is, like, I suggested as another alternative mind from which we can act, and I think it can be very strong also. And then it's not, we have to have our anger to act, and then we can choose which one of them. I think the main thing is like that anger blinds us, and if compassion doesn't, then we can really choose how to act in those situations. And I think for me, when I had the situations that I was acting out of anger, I did not really choose. I acted, sometimes communicated clearly. Like the thing about anger, which is nice, it's very easy to understand for the other person. If someone is yelling, if someone looks angry.
Yeah, exactly. So this is what I wanted to say, what the Tibetans say. You can ask, you can act wrathfully, and your face has to look as dark as coal, as black as coal, and your heart has to be as white as snow. It's quite nice. That's what parents do when they need to shout at their children. If they wait until they're really frustrated and really angry, because that can also happen, then the kid doesn't want to listen anymore. They just get frightened, like the same way, if we are angry, our face becomes all distorted, and it could be that people are afraid of us, and because they are afraid of us, then they do what we want them to do. Now, I'm not talking about Palestinians and Israelis and all this. I'm talking about neighbors or somebody in the post office that is not doing their job or whatever. So it could well be that then they do what we want them to do, but is that what we want? Do we want people to do what we want them to do because they're frightened of us? Yeah, maybe yes, but definitely me not. Do I always have to have what I want? I mean, it's a big question. I have this idea that if I have an idea, and this is, what's this, what's its Hebrew word, Mageli or Mageh? Yeah, this one thing, it's like, we haven't talked about it this year yet. It's like, we think, this is due to me, I have a right to get this and this and that. We totally forget about karma, right? We totally forget about other people who need to give it to us and all these kind of things. So yes, it's true that if we apply anger, and we can make other people afraid, but maybe also it's not anger, as you say, we can use force in order to, if it's really, again, if through anger, I get what I want now, I create a karmic imprint, because I think you're all Buddhists, so I can talk like this. we create a karmic imprint that I will not get what I want next time around, and something will be taken away from me. So also, it's like with bodhicitta and all this, you start to think much further than just this life. It doesn't mean you give up your country, but again, you as an individual, what can you do? You know, people ask me about my opinion. It's a cat. Poor cat, she must be really sick.
this is a lad.
Huh?
She went to say hi.
Okay.
Ah, okay.
She's taking care of him while he's
Oh,
taking
it's a lad
shower
who
or
took her.
something, yeah.
So, poor thing. So anyway, is like, people ask me my opinion about the situation here. I say, what does it count, what I think? It doesn't change anything. But everybody needs to have an opinion these days, you know? I know that I don't know the situation, so why should I have an opinion? Are you disappointed now that I don't have an opinion about the situation? Yeah, somebody got really angry when Trump got elected. What do you think? I say, I don't know, I don't know him. I'm in Switzerland, sometimes in Belgium, sometimes in Austria. It doesn't make a difference what I think to how he reacts. Zero. But it seems as if then we become cold and disinterested. I'm not disinterested. I read the newspaper every morning. I know what's going on, but I choose not to have, for him, against him, this and that. I don't know. I really don't know. So with bodhicitta, one really starts to think like quite broad. And in order to attain liberation, when we say I take refuge until enlightenment, so one also thinks about one's own liberation, like renunciation, to get out of samsara, for me not to be under the control of negative emotions anymore. And then of course the Mahayana way is like, why? Because I want everybody else to benefit from what I have attained, meaning a view of how things are, and not to be under the control of my negative emotion. May other beings benefit from that, because otherwise we make all this effort to get out of samsara, and then nobody will benefit from it. But it's fine, it's totally legal, so please do not criticize people who are in the so-called smaller vehicle. They're very selfish, they only think about themselves. It's good. One being less in this planet who creates a problem. One being less who is reincarnated as an ordinary being, so that's fine. But then we need to see, okay, in order to attain liberation and enlightenment, do I really need a certain government? Do I really need a certain country? Do I need a certain nationality? Do I need a certain gender? Maybe not. Maybe yes. I don't know. There's, again, very personal decision.
We tend to see our peace of mind depending on certain things, like having a democratic country.
Okay.
And we feel that if we won't have a democratic country, our peace of mind will be harder to achieve.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's part of the anger or the fight against the undemocratic movement that we see in Israel.
Yeah, and it's
But
good.
Maybe we are wrong. If we were more developed, like our delegations that some of them we know, then it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to us. We could live in a prison and still be able to achieve enlightenment. But we're not.
Yeah, okay. So, but it's really good to, I saw your hand, it's really good to think that, yes, we think so, but I can tell you, I've been coming to this country since 24 years. We always have pretty much the same conversations about this topic. There was not 1 year that we didn't have this topic, being angry at the government and about the situation. So of course, if one looks backwards now, these last 23 years, one thinks the situation was much better, but it wasn't better because you were not realizing that it could be worse, like now. If now we think, oh my gosh, it could be that much worse. But please understand, I'm not telling you what you should do as an Israeli citizen. I don't know. You know, as I'm saying, I do go to the demonstrations, even though I'm not Israeli, because I also think it's not so good. It's actually not good at all, what is happening here. But how does that influence our practice of bodhicitta? This is the big question, you know? Can we really put it on the government that, wow, they postponed my enlightenment for 24 years or for 20 years or, you know, and then if the government, also to be really realistic, I mean, for me, the situation, it looks totally stuck. If somebody says, okay, you can be prime minister tomorrow, I wouldn't know what to do. I would have no clue. Yes, Shaked.
Yeah. So I'm sorry for us that we're having this discussion now for 2 decades and a half. I'm just thinking about this conversation about anger, which we also tend to reiterate, thinking about the advantages or disadvantages and what alternatives do we have. And I think there's a nuance of words that might be beneficial to use or to add certain words to help us think about the alternatives. So just suggesting perhaps the differentiation between aggression and assertiveness. And maybe in the same way, the difference between being angry as the motivation of wanting to hurt and being confident in achieving your best interest while also considering others, and in that sense maybe taking confidence as a state of mind or an experience. So I think because we're lacking a name or how to say this thing which is not really anger but is actually assertiveness.
Yeah.
So that's maybe why we're always returning to no, I do have the right to be angry. So maybe just reminding ourselves to differentiate. No, it's not wanting to hurt the other person, but it's holding both of us, the best interest of everyone, including ourselves and the others. And that's assertiveness, not passivity, not aggressiveness, not passive aggressiveness, but just assertiveness.
Yeah, so that's very good. But if you say, you know, what's good for me and the others, but what if the others have totally opposed views? That's difficult, isn't it?
But then
because my views are much better than theirs, and they think the same way. They think their views are much better than yours or mine or ours. Yeah.
Because first of all, I agree, with that, and I just found myself right after the massacre, okay? I said, okay, it's 24 hours later, it was over. Yeah, it was not, and it was clear that we'll go into Gaza and kill many people, and everybody who calls it, just pray for Gaza. I wish, and our soldiers will also die, and we won't get them out. And it was clear, everybody will shoot, and you just stand there, and you wait until, like a mad mob, crazy mob, just run until they into the wall, and it was just, you have to sit and wait like an idiot until they will understand. Yeah, I do believe that everyone who is, like you said, when you said it very nicely, so I wrote it down, that when you think with a broad mind, for the benefit of all sentient beings, it's it can't be that I'll be happy and everybody around me not. It can't be that we as a society will be, it has to be with everyone, otherwise it's just using power in order to oppress other people, preventing them from having what they want. So at some point, everyone, I believe, this is what the scriptures say, and I do believe it, that at some point we see that societies, when they develop, they become more peaceful, yeah? There is this understanding, Europe, yeah, or Canada and the US 150 years ago were military opponents, which sounds like science fiction today. Like you say, okay, have a good life, let them also have a good life. I don't want to waste my money on ammunition. But even if you don't disagree with that, okay, I think that personally at least, yeah, when we get more educated or better life, we do tend to be, we call it left wing, or for the benefit of all beings, or we want other people to be more liberal, or call it whatever you want. Come to the conclusion that is closer to the view of Bodhicitta, yeah? For the benefit of all beings. And sometimes that's how I found myself, and I felt I didn't know what to do, yeah, because I hardly, in the days of Balfour, I went and I felt I couldn't not go, because it was like, don't you see, like this. And now I say, like, what am I going for? They don't see what's going on. I have to wait until they will come also to the conclusion that as long as the government doesn't want the people to be free, yeah, to bring back the hostages, they're not going to come back. Now, how long it will take them until they see this? For me, it was very clear, yeah, from the beginning, yeah, that as long as Bibi is there, the hostages are not going to come back. And I felt like an idiot sitting there and, waiting for everyone else to understand. It was not even anger, yeah? Sometimes I am freaking out, yeah, because people break the law or something like this, and it's like, what? But, like, what do you do in such a situation?
What do you do in such a situation? Yeah, it's difficult. But the thing is also, see, Michal, there's less and less people on the Zoom because they think maybe it's too political and it's not enough bodhicitta. Okay. But I know that you are all Buddhists here, so you have heard about how to develop bodhicitta I don't know how many times already. So I think for me, it's quite good to have such conversations. It's what do we do now, here? Because theory, like everybody happy and all this and that, we just exchange ideas. And if you find it boring on the Zoom, that's fine. Then you just switch off. Don't wait until you're angry at us. There's no point, right? So you have to, also people here, you have the possibility to go. But you see, as you say, because this is samsara, and as you say, well, let everybody be happy, it's impossible in samsara. This is the thing, because also, I mean, you talk about Europe, I'm from Europe, I feel very, very privileged, the kind of life I have. On whose back is my life? Is on the people from North Africa who work in Spain for very little money, so I buy my vegetables quite cheap, and fruits and all this, and the table is coming from China that I'm using here, and all of this. It's also good to think like that. Are we really bodhisattva ready to pay the price to give everybody a good life? So if I have the means to pay for the things that they are producing in an appropriate way, I doubt. Samsara.
Okay.
Yeah, samsara. So this is what we have to be, I think this is what we have to be aware of also. My life at the moment is so privileged. I don't have to fight for survival. Me in Switzerland, I don't have to fight for my, for the country and all these things. So at least I can develop bodhicitta and I can use these texts. Now I come back to not just daily life here, but read the Bodhicharyavatara, read Praise to Bodhicitta by Kunulama, read whatever text I find inspiring, and then in daily life to develop the mind, meaning the aspiration, meaning the motivation, by seeing people and wishing them well, understanding that, oof, I'm not equanimous, I don't want to be like that, okay, so what do I do? Thinking about past lives, thinking about future life, thinking about my own self-cherishing and these kind of things. This is what I can do. But even if I think, as you say, Europe now, yes, between the countries, maybe there is peace. But in Switzerland, we have a lot of domestic violence. It's incredible how many, with just now, a mother murdered her 3 children. Wow. Okay, you say she is mentally disturbed. Of course, a mother who murders her 3 children is mentally disturbed. But why doesn't she get help? A husband murdered his wife. No, it's all the court cases are happening all now. So this is why I'm saying, why do I know this? Because I read the newspapers. Okay, so it's not that as long as we have this mind who doesn't see reality, it comes down to that. We can try to have compassion for all beings as much as we want, the self-cherishing. It will get weakened, of course, if we practice conventional bodhicitta with the 6 perfections, if we really practice it, that whenever we have an occasion to practice it, we do practice it. Patience, ethical conduct, consciously ethical conduct, and generosity, isn't it? And then slowly, maybe things will change, hopefully. And at one point, then we wake up and we go, oh my gosh, so many lifetimes I tried to make this ego of mine so happy and it never worked. Why didn't I wake up before? Maybe. And then again, just being grateful to the teachers, to the masters who are living examples, like His Holiness. I talked about Ribber Rinpoche. He was in prison, he was tortured by the Chinese army. 0 anger towards them, 0 accusing them. And these are people, they grew up with the view of karma. These are people they could practice before they were tortured by the Chinese, and had all the tools to work with it in order not to get angry. Now, they didn't get their country back. Rinpoche, first he was in India, and then, of course, he went to America because Richard Gere built him that house. So we had, it was the health insurance for the monks in Serra, plus the house in California, and then in Washington State. So, and Rinpoche was so inspiring. I think he was talking about patience or karma, or I can't remember exactly, at Tushita. He was like, maybe I find a picture of him. He was so amazing. Anybody has met Ribber Rinpoche? Maybe not, because he died, I think, 2005, if I am not mistaken. He just looked like a granddad. He had such loving eyes. I mean, you would just totally melt.
Who is it?
Ribber Rinpoche. Wait, coming? I think I can't make him bigger. Oh, tricycle. What happened? The tricycle wants to send me a copy. Maybe this is working better. And so anyway, it's kind of small. And so somebody some very arrogant American young person, it was a group of students, and he said, well, you with your karma and all this, what about the Chinese who took your country away? And he just looked at that person and said, yes, we did suffer. The Tibetans did suffer, but there's many more Chinese who suffer under this government. So it's not the Chinese fault, it's the government and the system's fault. And us, it's our karma. Gachin Rinpoche, when he came first time, oh, I didn't share the screen. I don't know if I can share the screen. But anyway, it's okay. Gachin Rinpoche, first time he came to Israel, I don't know if you remember, it was in Tuval. He went on the throne and he said, hello, my name is Gachin. I was in prison by the Chinese, I don't know how many years. It's my karma. So we have these living examples that one can lose a country and one can be okay with it and serve as an inspiration for others. Would we be able to do this? I don't think, maybe, I don't know, maybe we don't know. But anyway, we can start applying the methods that these people are giving us by first, when we talk about bodhicitta, first thinking about equanimity, that my happiness is not more important than others. So you see, injustice, I used to do things with children, now it wants to update. Come on, you Zoom person. I was doing, or we had kids kind of who came to the center sometimes, like school classes, and what I noticed, children are very disturbed by injustice, really. Although they are also treating their schoolmates not such in a good way, but when the injustice goes against their group, wow, then there is so much anger. So then I said, this is a really good thing to have this, to see injustice. But what they and we have to learn, that we also have to be disturbed about the injustice when it is to our favor. And that's very difficult. And that's one step that we have to do. Still taking advantage about Judith has, I'm coming in a moment, I just finished what I'm about to say. So to understand we are exploiting others by having by the lifestyle that we have, and I'm not talking about only here, I'm also talking about Europe and basically the Western world. So at least, to be aware of that and be grateful, and that again can be totally hypocritical. But every time you talked about contentment, every time when I open the tap, I think, wow, not every time, maybe once a year at least, somebody put pipes into my wall. How wonderful, I only have to open the tap. When we have a cup of tea, this is a glass. So many people kind of manufactured this thing. Then the tea, the water, making the water hot, putting either soy milk or cow milk or whatever white stuff in it, and all this, it all comes from numberless beings. And just from time to time, when you make yourself a cup of tea, just to try to imagine how many beings are involved in this, and then to feel a connection and to feel a responsibility. I have to repay that kindness because there is so much injustice. I am taking so much, and the best way I can give it back is to become a Buddha. It's the only way. Yes, you did. Please.
Okay, good evening. Thank you very much for being here. And I wanted to ask you something on the path of cultivating bodhicitta. I find it very difficult to handle the polarization, great polarization that happens today in Israel between, you talked about being right, between large two groups that every group thinks they are right.
They have the right view, right? Okay.
Yes, there is a big polarization and a lot of anger from both sides. And I personally, I live on the border with Gaza Strip. I live in a small village called Netiv HaSara. About 20 people around my house were murdered on the 7th of October. And in the midst of everything, of this difficulty and the problems of the and what's the ongoing event of war and the injustice that we see, my big concern is cultivating bodhicitta while there is such polarization and there are so many people who just hate each other.
Right. But then again, you know, as I said before, we have to ask, as an individual, what can I do against this polarization? Because this is also where a lot of frustration and anger comes from, because we want to do something and we think we can do something, but when we then are totally realistic, we see, me, what can I do? Right? And again, bodhicitta doesn't mean that you're not doing anything. Kind of, you know, that you're not trying at least to talk. I don't know if there's any use of talking to somebody who has totally different view, right? So I wish I would have an answer to give you how we can change the situation, but you know, somebody wrote that we tried this for 2,000 years, didn't work. To have peace, yeah, it's true. As long as we cannot be peaceful ourselves with whatever is going on around us, it's a little bit like, I think it's Thich Nhat Hanh says, as long as you cannot be peaceful with everything that happens, it's like you cannot ask for peace from somebody else. But what we can see when we see this, you know, the polarization, as you see on both sides, how one can become totally fanatical, how one can become totally stuck in one's own views and think that one is right and start fighting for it and all these kind of things, and then see it and then think, may I never be so fanatical. That's about all we can do. So then at least we don't contribute to it. This is what we can do. And then again, understand, this is samsara. Now, when we say this is samsara, it doesn't mean that we don't do anything. But to understand, as long as I and others are following that self-cherishing mind, because we think that there's a real I, a real self, a real me, there will be problems. There will be conflict, because we all have different views. It can be huge conflict as it is now. It can be smaller conflict that is within families or with neighbors or whatever. So the only answer, in order to, that's how we started, and we will start to end like this soon, is, as Tommy was saying, something that we all have in common with all beings. We don't want to be harmed, and we want to be happy. We don't want to suffer. And when we start to see that this is a fact, this is one thing that we can say that is true. Of course, then they, you know, very clever people, they come with, what about masochists? Yes, it's true, they want to be harmed, but why? Because they want to be happy. They even pay money for it, thinking that it will make them happy. And then again, Buddhism is an experiential vehicle. We can only try to find out. We have the methods, we have the tools, we apply them, and then we look, what does it do to me at the moment? And to think, when we go out of the house, in what way can I bring more peace, at least around me? Is it by being angry, or is it by being peaceful? And being peaceful, as Shaked was saying, it doesn't mean you become like, oh, you know, there's nothing I can do, let everybody do to me whatever they want to do. It's not like this. You can be very assertive and say, sorry, this is not right. And then, you know, like in a queue or whatever, or you can, like me, think, okay, they're probably in a hurry, I am not, let them go first. So this then is your personal, this is another thing, you know, that I see sometimes in me also. Most of us, we have this wish to educate others how they should behave, isn't it?
To educate you?
we have this wish to educate others how they should behave. Of course. Now the big question is to have the right to do that. Did somebody assign me to be the educator of other people who don't behave in the bus, who throw their things on the floor, who, dirty nature, who are not careful with their wife, whatever? Did anybody assign that job to me? Probably not. So who do I think I am? So this also is like, sometimes we take too much responsibility to think that we have the skills to do something.
Thank you.
But, yeah, so like that. So then you check, you look, if you practice bodhicitta, and just by going out of the house, by thinking, today, until enlightenment, of course, as a bodhisattva, until everybody is enlightened, may whatever I do with body, speech, and mind only be of benefit to others. It's such a good motivation, and it's so simple. Like, even if I harm Ben, may be of benefit to him, so he purifies his negative karma, right? It can serve as a total excuse to go around and do whatever I want to others. It's his karma. But whether then it will be beneficial for your mind stream, your mind will know whether it is hypocritical and an excuse, or whether it's really true. Whether I'm really careful of not harming or hurting others. So also Ben wanted to say something. Also here there's one comment: in order to develop bodhicitta, you need wisdom too. Yes, of course. So this is why there's two bodhicittas, the ultimate one and the conventional one.
I think, especially when we're talking about all the war and the political situation and these people that are harming me, and then I get the anger to put the boundaries and so forth, I think there's, a certain wish that with bodhicitta, all the outer problems will be solved.
Yeah.
No more wars, all the political situation is gone. I develop compassion, then Bibi will be the nicest person in the world, and everybody is so kind, and no one will scold me and so on. But bodhicitta has no one can guarantee that bodhicitta will have this effect. In fact, bodhicitta will not have this effect. Bodhicitta is to change how we respond to the situation, and by changing how we respond to the situation, of course we will have a good effect also on our immediate circle, maybe. I mean, better than not having it.
Yeah.
Well, at least we won't create the problems of not having it, but it will not change everything around us, but it will change how we respond.
Yes.
So, I mean, this is maybe a more realistic approach.
Yeah.
Like having bodhicitta to connect differently with the same situation. And when we think like anger is the only way to put our boundaries, I mean, this is not the only way. Like anger, for me at least, when I am angry, I can put boundaries, but I also create a lot of problems. I mean, usually when I do things out of anger, almost immediately I regret, personally. Whereas with compassion, maybe, like you said, compassion doesn't mean just to be a doormat. I mean, if we are smart and we see the situation as it is, then maybe we can see that being a doormat right now is good, is beneficial, but only if I'm ready for it. If I'm not ready for it, then being a doormat will create more problems, because later I'll be angry. If I have the brains to see where I am right now, then I won't be a doormat right now because I'm not ready for it.
That's very good, yeah.
So,
That's very true. Shaked?
I think because we are in the long, in the game for the long run, and I think also this bodhicitta thing is really thinking to the long term. So there's this story that I really like about this Buddhist monk, I think. He saw that there's this certain man that had a potential to be enlightened, but not in this lifetime. And for many lifetimes, he waited for him in the same junction of the road, just for 100 or I don't remember the exact detail of the story. Lifetimes after it, when it will be appropriate, and that man would recognize him, and he could. So it's we really doing the best that we can the outer conditions, like Ben said, that are possible right now, in order for in the long term to be happiness and like end of suffering for everyone. But it's like working with what we've got.
Yeah, exactly. That's how it is. It's long term, and also, as Ben said, it will not. Even if everybody has bodhicitta, you know, we don't have. I don't have bodhicitta. I have egochitta. You know, spontaneous. I have spontaneous, very spontaneous egochitta. I know how to take care of myself, right? So all I need to do is to expand it. So it's actually quite a good thing. You know, it's good to wanting to, we need that. If we want others to be happy, first we need that very natural wish that we have to be free from suffering. So the wish is there, but I need to expand it, of course, and I want to expand it. And sometimes really I think when I do my meditation, I think, I'm sick and tired of limiting myself to just these few people that I like. There's so many others there that I could like. And then I also think, you know, bodhicitta is so difficult. It is actually quite easy, because I think, wow, having bodhicitta, I don't need to make a choice anymore. I don't need to choose this one I like, to this one I go for lunch, not to this one I don't have time to go for lunch or have a coffee or whatever. It will be so easy. It's everybody. And that's the beauty about bodhicitta. But it's difficult. As Tommy said, equanimity is incredibly difficult, but it's the first step. And it makes life for us already now a lot easier if at least we try to react like a bodhisattva, not like a crazy person or whatever. Okay? Good. So, yeah, Michal wants to say something, then we need to end.
We can also end.
No, okay.
No,
Okay.
no,
You know,
just-
the people here, they have the freedom to go if they want to go. The people on the Zoom have the freedom to go if they want to go. So good.
Just like when we're talking about ego and stuff, something that happened to me today. It was not even about bodhicitta. It was sorting out something, and the other side was, you know, we just had no communication at all. He even hung up on me and I said, okay, it's not going anywhere. I even called Tony, like, maybe you'll be the go-between, just explain to him what I'm trying to tell him, and he wouldn't listen. And then I thought of Bra Offer, you know, and he's supposedly lower vehicle, but for me he's a very good sign of bodhicitta, you know. Yeah. And I remember I once asked him, I said, like, okay, I don't need you to, every time he speaks Hebrew, he's available. So I use him when I need. And he always says, just, you know, tell yourself this is what it is, and send them, bodhicitta, send merit. Yeah. Send love to them. And I told him once, like, okay, I can tell this to myself. How come when you tell me that, it works? And he said, look, I'm Sangha. You took refuge in Sangha. And so, anyway, as he was shouting at me, I thought, like, okay, what would Prabhupada say? I said, okay, he'll tell me just to tell this is what it is. And you know, just by thinking of him, I thought, okay, you know what? Tell me what to do. And he told me what to do, which is of my best interest, which was like, whoa, okay. But then he said, okay, you just need to write this down and tell everyone. Now this is a big, you know, no for the ego, because I said all kinds of things, and now I have to say, okay, I talked to this man, I'm reversing everything after all the noise that I made. And I just wrote it down after we talked, I just wrote it down. And it all happened like he. I talked to him, he told me to do like this, like make it half a joke, so it's much easier on the ego. But I was still not willing to send it. And it's not even bodhicitta, it's like pure egoism, yeah? It's just, I think that relying on a teacher, or even thinking of the Sangha, just help me do the switch, like, okay, you tell me what to do, and to see this difficulty of the ego, to let go and say, okay, I'll be the idiot.
Yeah, this is the problem that we have. We have very clear ideas how things should be. People who have other ideas how things should be, and then it clashes, and then that's it. So to conclude this talk, I can give you only one solution. We have to realize emptiness and not be reborn under the control of our, wrong views and anger and attachment anymore. That's the Buddha. That is what the Buddha says. We discussed it. We tried to find other solutions. We didn't find any other solution. So this is it. And how to do that? You have plenty of books, videos, instructions. As Michal was saying, also people who inspire you. So take refuge in that. And take refuge in your own inner goodness too. Sometimes when we see that we also not acting what is helpful for the situation, that we think, I don't want to be like this. But not to judge yourself and all this, understanding our negative emotions come. Why? Because we have had negative emotions before. This is why I want to do purification this evening, in order to purify these seeds a little bit. But anyway, it didn't happen. We talked about bodhicitta, how to apply it in this difficult situation. So yes, do apply it, because that's the only way out. Anyway, with wisdom, not to harm yourself, to take good care of yourself, because you have a responsibility, because you start to have faith in your own potential. You have faith in it is possible to develop it. There's not so many people anymore in this world who have that. So please don't let it die, and make sure that next life you can continue with going towards full awakening. And don't forget, no matter how stuck the situation is, we will all die and not necessarily be reborn in Israel. So for all of us, the situation will be finished at one point, really finished, and totally new situation coming. So if we are careful now about our ethical conduct, purify whatever we've already created since beginningless lifetimes, do a lot of purification, then, and always make the aspiration in all my lives, never be separated from the magnificent Dharma, meet with perfect teachers, and practice these two stages and quickly attain the state of Ajadara or Buddha or whatever you want to call it. May I meet teachers every lifetime. May I never lose the interest in becoming a Buddha, or if you want, no, Buddha is too high, maybe, in having a good and open heart and understand reality the way it is, meaning on a conventional level, cause and effect. On the ultimate level, everything is empty of any inherent existence. May that, my benefit, my merits now be of benefit to make the situation in this area of this world be not so tense. May there be leaders that start to understand that the way that they behave and their decisions don't lead to anything that one can call peace. May the hostages be released now, quickly, and while they are in captivity, may they have all the physical and mental resources they need to be able to survive. And then, and may everybody, through the merits, long-term, so that's short-term, may through the merits that we have created by discussing these things, may we all be able to understand that our suffering is based on a misconception and cannot be blamed on others. Others are just a condition. The causes we have created ourselves. And may the supreme jewel of bodhicitta that has not arisen arise and grow. May that which has arisen not diminish but increase more and more. May the supreme view of emptiness that has not arisen arise and grow. May that which has arisen not diminish and increase more and more. And then, of course, for the we request our teachers that manifest for us in a human body to have long, healthy, and stable lives. Foremost of all, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, as a representative of all of them. And that you can do in your own words. I think in English it goes something like, in the land encircled by snow mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good, all-powerful Chenrezig Tenzin Gyatso. Please remain until samsara ends. And then we can spend the last thought on Shakyamuni Buddha, that on Friday is a very powerful day. He went to Tushita heaven, or I think it was Tushita, I'm not even sure. I say things these days, I tell you, my brain is going really soft. Maybe it is the heaven of the 33 or something like that, to teach where his mother was, because she died at his birth and then came back down. Lucky for us, he came back down, because he could have stayed up there. So also, that's why sometimes in the sutras, I ask Serkong Rinpoche, in the Heart Sutra, why the Buddha doesn't speak himself. So he said, in order for his disciples at that time to lose their fear that if he goes up to Tushita, or to the heaven of 33, that if he wouldn't come down, there are other people down there who already know how to guide them. That was Serkong Rinpoche's answer. He said, I don't know if it's true, but it seems a good answer. See, it's so like that.
The new Serkong Rinpoche?
Huh?
The new Serkong?
The new Serkong Rinpoche said that, because I asked him. Also, I asked him, it's the Heart Sutra. Why is not Manjushri answering? Why Avalokiteshvara? And then Rinpoche said, because Manjushri is in so many sutras, he's so famous, so that also it's good to have Avalokiteshvara say a few things. And because he's the Buddha of compassion, people see that he also has wisdom. So that was Rinpoche's answers. So please take care. May you be able to purify your negative karma immediately by doing what you are doing by all these merits, and may the merit be created for the situation, for the conditions to have peace in this area be established by our positive actions, be they supported by bodhicitta or just by a good heart. It's good enough. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anila. See you. Bye.
Maybe tomorrow at the Cinematheque, 8 o'clock, or a little bit before 8. Then we can see the ocean of wisdom and learn about the wisdom of happiness. It's our duty to be happy. So there you go. Bye.
Bye.